Hi everyone and welcome to the French Watch Collector. Today on the bench we have this very beautiful Rolex GMT-Master with steel and gold. You see like the two-tone on the watch. Beautiful watch. I love with the Jubilee bracelet. And we're just going to check like this watch is from a client of me which I worked with him like for many watches. And we're going to check like he just bought this one. And he just wanted to see if everything is okay. And first issue, we see that, yeah, looks like the date just changed like very late, like a quarter past midnight. So, yeah, and the hand as well are not aligned. You see the hour hand is on hour and the minute hand is on a quarter. So, let's check again. And you see that the hand are not aligned, so that's not good. Yeah, we're gonna obviously do a full service on this watch and we're gonna address all these issues. You see there's a jump, yeah, just like around 15 minutes past midnight, so that's way too much on this type of watch. Yeah, it's probably during the last service I did not align the hand very well, so yeah, we're gonna anyway remove the hand to do the service on this watch. So yeah, we're gonna fix this issue. Okay, the rest is, we have a quick side date as well, that's working. And you see this one is a bit different compared to other GMT watch because there is two kind of GMT. On Rolex, you have the GMT-Master like this one, and you have the GMT-Master 2, or like on a Rolex Explorer 2, for example, with a GMT, where you can adjust very quickly the hour on your GMT, actually on your hour hand, to just change the GMT very quickly. Like on this caliber, that's not there. That's a GMT, a standard GMT. You see our GMT is moving with the hour hand, but that's it. You cannot change very quickly hour by hour your hour hand. So yeah, that's different on the GMT standard, and we're gonna see the difference in the caliber as well. So I'm gonna remove this beautiful bracelet, and actually the watch is in good state. I'm not gonna polish this watch or do anything on the case or the bracelet. Looks like was polished before as well, so I'm not gonna do anything on the case. Just do a quick clean as well, obviously as every time in the ultrasonic machine. But you see there is quite in good shape. And one thing I don't like on this watch is the crown. When it's screwed as well on his watch, is sticking out. So I'm just using my tool here just to remove my Rolex case back, which need a special tool for this. This is a custom tool from Orotech. You will have the link down below in the description if you want to get this tool. Beautiful tool to open and close your watch if you need to. And let's see what we have inside. We have a beautiful Rolex. I love the Rolex caliber actually. And you see there's a 1670. That's a type of this watch, of this GMT-Master. Gonna check if there is no play there on the rotor of the automatic winding system. It looks okay actually on this one. So that's perfect. And we see the watch on the time grapher actually is running quite well at 290. It's just around bit error 0 and just losing 1 second. So yeah, it's running quite well. Obviously, we're gonna do a full service and check the hand. And as well, I just want to tell you, like a lot of people are not subscribed to my channel. So if you want to join and subscribe my channel, just click on the subscribe button. You will get a notification if you click on the bell icon. And if you like the video, just keep the thumbs up on the video. That will help me a lot to grow my channel. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're just going to remove first the automatic winding system. So we're just going to remove the screws. You will see there will be 3 screws there on this watch. And you see there the 3075, that's a type of caliber. And which is a GMT, the standard GMT caliber. Obviously, you will have the 3085, which is a GMT2, the Master 2 if you want. And actually it's quite clever with the Rolex. Like you will have, obviously this one being a 3075, you will have the 3175, which is the evolution if you want. But what's smart about Rolex is that they have the base of the caliber, and after they do some small modification with date, without date, with GMT standard, with GMT2, sorry. And most of the parts are common. So that's very smart from Rolex and very easy as well to work on, because you will have most of the parts are the same. Most of the way to work on a caliber is the same as well. And you just have few different parts just to do the special things, like for example on the GMT and for this one. Okay, beautiful dial, black die. And you see this one is a very special dial as well. It's a strange name, but it's called the nipple dial. You see like the hour indicators are like little nipples. You see it's a very special GMT watch from this era. So it's a very unique one, beautiful one. So I'm gonna remove the hand. For this, you see I'm just using holder there for the caliber, a special one for the Rolex caliber. And I'm just gonna use a pair of levers there just to lift the hand. Very gently go underneath, and here we go. Perfect. And obviously this one you see being a GMT and being a two-tone, so mixed with gold. Most of the time you will have the dial and the hands which are on gold as well. Just releasing the screws there, you see the dial fit screw just to release the dial. So we are gonna gently remove this dial. You see using my carbon tweezer tips there. Very gently. Perfect. Just gonna put the dial in this special box there just to hold it in place, not to damage during disassembly. And now we will start disassembling the caliber. So we'll start on the dial side. You see we have our hand there, and we have a couple of parts. You see that this is for the GMT. Gonna remove the hour disc, not the hour, sorry, the date disc there. And you will see, as I go, you will see the parts, all the parts that I removed starting to pile up on my bench. That's the way I do, and try to keep as well the different parts in kind of families. For example, now I'm working on all the parts for the date mechanism and the GMT mechanism if we want. So I try to keep all the parts together. And it will be the same every sub-assembly that I work on. I will try to keep the parts all together. We see you have this strange screw there with 3 stripes, which means it's reverse threaded. So I remove it. You see it turning like normally the opposite way. I was supposed to remove a screw. And here I need to remove the just jump there. And actually you see there is a jewel. You will see when we put it back together, there is a jewel there on this part, just to do the jump on the calendar mechanism. And you see this jewel there, tiny small jewel. Here we go. Just remove this spring here where I can get this arm out of the way. And that's the last few parts that we have for this is for the quick set date. And the cannon pinion, which I remove with my Presto tool from Bezel. Perfect. So now we move on. You see I'm on the balance side. Obviously, we see the balance side on the bottom there running. And I'm going to remove all the power inside the mainspring. holding the crown in my finger, you see gently releasing the power. There we go. Now there is no more power inside the mainspring, a tiny bit, and we see the balance wheel at one point will stop when the power is not there anymore. You see it's starting to slow down here, and that's it. Come to a hand. Just checking the end check there. You see on I do this on a few wheels, just to check that there is no movement up and down. And obviously, if there is too much, we can adjust it. If there is too less, we can adjust it as well. So that's something to check every time you disassemble a watch. And I'm grabbing, you see straight away the jewel on top of the balance wheel there. We see that need to be clean inside the machine that we put later on. And I'm just closing here the spring. And now I can remove the balance wheel with the screw here. Very, very fragile part, you see, with this air spring. So that's why we remove it straight away, just to make sure that we don't damage this balance wheel, especially the spring. And we can carry on with the rest of the disassembly on this caliber. You see the Rolex written on the bottom there under the bridge for the pallet fork. Here we have the pallet fork with 2 jewels, you see, on each side, like, obviously, because that's the name, it's doing like a fork. Here we have the crown wheel, we see with, again, 3 stripes, which mean river threaded on the screw, so you need to be very careful, especially if you start working on watches. Some of the watch, like, for example, this beautiful Rolex, you have 3 stripes on it, but sometimes you don't have 3 stripes, and you know that if you have a central screw on your crown wheel, it's river threaded. So if you go the normal way, you will ruin the screw and more. You will ruin the thread inside the main plate. Sorry. So that you need to be very, very careful. Okay, so we are removing the rest of the parts. You see, we have the click there with a nice spring. Need to be very careful that it doesn't jump. So that's why we hold it. You see, with my tool and with my tweezer, we take it out. Yeah, there we go, perfect. Just checking if there is any play there. You see on the barrel, and it looks okay. So you see the end check again. I'm using a piece of wood just to thread it down and go up and down, and checking if there is. We need to have a tiny bit of movement, but not too much, because obviously if you have too much movement between the parts, they can touch each other. And if they touch each other, they will rub and you will lose a lot of power in your watch. And that's not what you want, because if you lose power in a watch, it will be like, obviously, first, less strong to keep time. And at one point, the part will damage as well. So, yeah, that's what you really be careful. Yeah, you don't want to have any parts. You want minimum amount of friction inside a watch caliber. Okay, we are removing the barrel here, the barrel assembly. Obviously, we'll disassemble that later. And again, you see I'm checking the end check on all the different wheels from the train of wheel. Checking if anything needs to be adjusted. It looks good on most of the Rolex. It happens sometime, but most of the time they are set pretty well from the factory, and it can move with time, or sometime when you press as well the hand on the dial, you can press the jewel, which is on the other opposite side. But most of the time is fine. Sometimes it happens on all the watch, but obviously on the one of Rolex, and sometimes as well you can have a broken jewel if you have a big shock against your watch. So yeah, that need to be replaced as well. You need to replace jewels. Okay, just removing, you see there's a train of wheel. And you see a big sign on the side there, on the right side, RB. I don't know what that means actually. Like this kind of logos that there is on a caliber here. If somebody know, just put a comment down below. We'll be happy to share it to all the community there. Okay, we have, you see there, a bridge with the minute wheel here. Okay, so we are done on you see on the balance side, we have removed all the parts. Now we move to the end, the rest of parts that we have on the dial side, which is a keyless work. So we're gonna remove all the parts which are used to, it's like all this system, which is when you pull on the crown, you will have different position on most of the watch, at least 2. This one has 3, because the first position is to wind the watch. The second one will be to do the quick side date, where you can change the date very quickly. And the third position is to adjust the time. So all these parts there that on the keyless work is what it does is when you pull on the crown, and it will send the information to all the mechanism. Okay, so I remove there this kind of spring that there is on top of the setting lever here. And we have a hack, which is this gold part. It's actually the part you will see later on that come and contact to the balance. And it's when you do the time setting, the watch stops because it come and hit and against the balance wheel. So that's how the hack is working on a watch when your second is not running anymore when you set your time. Okay, and we see like we have most of the parts on a bench. Couple of things to still disassemble, but we can see already it's quite a lot of parts. I'm removing the jewels. So that's a jewel from the balance assembly. There we go, gently taking the jewel. And we have a jewel as well, this one on this Rolex caliber, on the escape wheel. So you see that need to be removed, and you see I use a bit of Rodico there just to remove the jewel. I will just clean, you see, with a piece of pegwood all the jewels from the watch, just to do a pre-clean if we want to remove any dried up oil or grease. And obviously I do that on all the jewels from all the different bridges on the watch. And when it's done, we can put back the balance wheel, because again, it's very fragile, so we keep it there when we put it in a washing machine later on. Don't want to damage the part. We still have a sub-assembly here, which is the automatic winding. We remember we remove it almost first from the caliber. And you see there, I'm using the huge weight there, which is when your wrist is moving, is what's turning around inside the watch to wind the watch. And obviously inside this sub-assembly, we have a few parts, few wheels if we want. We have the Nautilus red wheels from Rolex, which are the reversing wheels, which mean that we can the weight that we remove there, the rotor, can turn in both sides, but actually the power is transmitted only in one direction to the mainspring, because the mainspring can only wind in one direction. So what these 2 red reels there are doing, and obviously the rest of the part is just to transmit the information to the barrel and the mainspring inside. And you see there the few different parts from the winding mechanism, automatic winding. Perfect. We're going to disassemble as well the barrel assembly. Just opening it, and we're going to check inside if everything is okay. We saw the watch has amplitude at the beginning that was quite good, so the mainspring is in good state. So we're going to reuse this mainspring later on when we reassemble the watch. But first we need to remove it and clean it. So now we just go, you see, one side to the other. We're gonna unwind the mainspring inside. And obviously we'll have a special tool just to rewind this huge mainspring. You see, very long. Automatic mainspring, obviously, because being an automatic watch. And that's it. Here is the mainspring. Okay, and so now we're gonna take all these parts and put them in baskets, and all these parts we go, and the baskets that contain them, we go inside the cleaning machine. So all the parts get fully clean and ready to be reassembled. And you see that's quite a lot of parts on a Rolex. There we go. And you see now all the baskets are going together. And this will go inside my vintage cleaning machine. Okay, so while we do the cleaning of the parts, you see, being the first, being a cleaning solution, we're gonna increase the power, and I will just tell you that I have a Patreon page. So if you want to go to my Patreon, you will have the link down below in the description, and you can go there and support my channel. That will help me a lot because it takes me a lot of time to do this video. So I would like to thank Philip, Roger, Matt, David, Shelby, Jan, Rune, Cornet, Alan, David, Tony, John, Tim, and Gregory. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting my channel. And if you want to join the group, you can go to my Patreon, subscribe to one of the plan, and you will help my channel quite a lot. So I will thank you a lot in advance if you join me there on my Patreon. So the parts are now clean, rinsed, and now they are fully dried up. So we can take them and rebuild this watch. Okay, so first, like I said before, we're gonna reuse the mainspring because the amplitude was quite good on his watch, so we can reuse the mainspring of this Rolex. And I'm using a special tool there with special size for the Rolex caliber to rewind this mainspring. See, we're just rewinding the mainspring inside there by just turning this lever on top. Here there we have the hand. You see it's kind of V shape for automatic mainspring, because being an automatic watch again. So yeah, we just need to pull that inside. Perfect. So now I can remove the top, and inside we'll have the mainspring normally fully in shape and ready to go back inside the barrel. Perfect. You see the mainspring inside, ready to go. But first, we're gonna put some grease inside the barrel. First, on the wall there, we are using a black grease. This one being P125, which is a special grease for automatic watch and for the barrel, especially for the barrel, on the wall of the barrel. And there we are going another grease which is for the bottom and top of the barrel. Just put the mainspring inside. You see, very easy when it's fully wind up. Again, some grease there. I can put the barrel arbor. Perfect. And now we're just going to use this Orotech tool there just to close the barrel assembly. Just press on it. Perfect. So the barrel is assembled. We're just going to oil, you see, the both side where you have the barrel arbor. Just to make sure, again, like the friction is reduced to a minimum, using oil and grease everywhere. Just checking the hang shape there on the barrel assembly, and it looks good. And now what we do, we're going to do a epilem treatment on few parts of this caliber, and actually quite a lot for Rolex. on all the jewels, and this one being 4 jewels, and as well on the reversing wheels of a Rolex. So the epilam will be used when we put oil, just to make sure it stay in place. It's treatment that on a surface, like the oil will not spread. So that's the way we do it. And now I'm just removing the epilam you see on the pivot point from the pallet fork and the escape wheel. And now that's just the oil I was talking about. We just put a drop of oil right in the center of the jewel that we're gonna encapsulate inside the chaton you see there. Perfect. So we have like a perfect drop of oil right in the center of this jewel there. Just gonna do the same thing on the other side. I mean on the second jewel. See how small it is compared to my finger. Eh? And these 2 jewels there are the one that go in a balance assembly. So we're gonna put it straight away on a balance assembly after cleaning. Just gonna close here the main spring. Put the one on the dial side. Just closing the spring here. And you see that the one from the escape wheel. Obviously, you see I did not put any drop of oil inside. Gonna do it later, and we show you another technique to do it. Another way to do it. Perfect. Okay, I'm just I'm just gonna blow some air to check. You see the balance, if it's moving freely, if the hairspring is fully flat, and it looks perfect. So that's a good news. So we have the balance there, which is fully oiled and ready to go back later on in the caliber. And you see there on the escape wheel, I'm just using my automatic oiler just to oil the stone that I just put. That's the second one. That time we put in position. You see that like it's very thin jewel that need to go. There we go, perfect. We can close there the spring. You see the size compared to my finger of these parts. And again, on this side, we're gonna use my automatic oiler just to oil the jewel underneath. And now we can start the rest of the reassembly. First, we have, this minute pinion there. Just putting a bit of oil there on the, you see, on the part which is in contact with the main plate. On top there. And actually you will see me using like a lot of different oil, and we already use different one, but I'm using different type of oil depending on what's recommended by Rolex. You will use different viscosity if you want for the oil, and after you will have some grease as well, which are even more thicker than oil. So when you see me with like my red automatic oiler and the red oil which is inside is some 9104. It's a medium viscosity oil. And sometime I will use with my standard oiler or even my automatic oiler that I used for the escape wheel is like let's say, like for example, the one I'm going to use right now. You see it's kind of a light blue oil inside. It's a low viscosity oil. It's some 9010. Okay, and so now I'm putting all the wheels, you see, from the train of wheel. I just want to align every pivot point with all the jewels underneath. And obviously after you will see we're going to put the bridge on top. And you see you have jewels again on the top side. So we need to align all the pivot point on the top side. Okay, so you see that gently we're gonna move all the wheels and to make sure everything is aligned. And when everything is aligned, first you feel it, you will see the bridge going down. And when it turns, you see that it's a bit too tight, so just lift it up a tiny bit. And we're gonna realign the escape wheel. And when everything is aligned, just, you see now, it just dropped, and everything will turn together. You see there, when I moved, it started to turn. All the wheels are turning. Yeah, perfect. So it means everything is aligned in a different point, so we can secure that with the screws. Okay, so next we're going to move on the barrel side. Going to put the bridge there. You see, keeping the barrel in position. And we're going to now hold in position the bridge. And on top there, we have different parts. First, we're going to oil, you see with my automatic oiler, the pivot point there. We have the click. We have this spring here that we need to put back in position. There we go. And we need to put a click there on the pivot point that we just oiled. And so the click is basically what, when you want a watch, you hear or you feel sometimes even a click, like when you turn the crown. And so that's what it's doing. Like that's this part, that's why it's called a click, because it makes a click sound. And it's to prevent the watch to unwind. And you see, like it will come and block this ratchet wheel, which is on top. So that's part of and the function of the click. And all the parts that you're going to put there actually are like with the crown wheel and a few intermediate wheel. Is all the parts that I use to transmit the power from the crown when you turn the crown to wind your watch to the mainspring. So that's all these parts are used for. You see here, you have a very tiny screw on this bridge here. And here you have the crown wheel with this spring underneath. There we go. And now we're gonna put the crown in position. And again, you see me using a lot of oil in different points and different places. And again, like I said, is to make sure that the parts are like free, like as free as possible to run, and as well that the part don't wear too much. It's like in your engine, if you don't put oil inside the cylinder of your car, your engine will break, because after at one point with heat and the metal that will start to go away, your engine will go actually very quickly. It will go away. It's exactly the same thing in a watch. That's why you need to do service of your watch every 5, 8, 10 years, depending on how much you wear your watch. But the oil, even if today is like very modern oil and very good oils, and they will stay and stay in place quite a long time. But at one point it will go. So that's why you need to service your watch, because if you don't do it, your watch will still run, will run for a long time. And if you don't do a service, you will lose like accuracy for your time, for sure. But after at one point, the parts will start to wear, and sometimes even at one point the part will break, and not your watch will not run anymore. And for example, on this Rolex caliber, and even with all the Rolex, and it's the same thing if you go to Patek Philippe or anything, which is more expensive, like the parts are expensive as well if they are broken, yeah? So that's why it costs a lot of money actually to do a service, but it's much better than breaking a lot of parts, because you will have to do a service anyway if your watch is broken. But on top of it, you will have to change a lot of parts. And on some of the Rolex, it can be like a few €100 just for a part. So yeah, you need to be really careful, and you need to take care of your watch, especially like, for example, this one. If you do it like every, like I said, 5, 8, 10 years, depending on how much you wear the watch, your watch will last for hundreds and hundreds of years. So and you can give it to your child, to your family, to anything. Like, yeah, but you need to service it. That's the point, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna just finish now the keyless work here. Remember, I explained what's the purpose of the keyless work. And you see here, when we put on the keyless work, everything is moving, and differently the information will go to different place, and we'll see when we assemble it fully after at the end. Just put some oil there, you see, on the underneath of the barrel assembly. I'm putting now the pallet fork with this beautiful bridge on top, big bridge. Just gonna realign again the pivot point. And yeah, that's it, just drop there. And you see the different finish as well that we have on a Rolex caliber. You see this sunburst effects on the bridge here. The perlage, like all these rounds that you have on the main plate. I find them quite nice actually. Obviously, if you go to Patek Philippe or Vacheron or Demar or even Jaeger-LeCoultre, sometimes it's even more. But like, I found the Rolex caliber quite nice, very nice. There you see me under the microscope. I'm oiling, you see, the exit jewels of the pallet fork. Just put a drop of oil, and now I will just move 5 tips, you see, on the escape wheel, and I will do this 3 times. Now I'll do it for the second time here. And I will do it a third time to do the other 5 tips. I will oil as well under the microscope, you see, like all the jewels from the train of wheel. You see that I'm putting some like medium viscosity oil on this jewel there. There is like a thinner oil on this one. Perfect. Okay, so now everything is reassembled, like most of it is reassembled, and everything is oiled. We can put the balance assembly and check if the watch will start again or no. So we're gently putting the balance assembly. Just try to align everything very gently, because you don't want to damage. And you see, as soon as it went in place, it just started. Yeah, perfect. And it looks good actually when it's beating. We'll see a bit later on what we have on a time grapher, which type of result on this watch. But now that the time is running on this watch, we're gonna do the complication, which is the date and the GMT on this watch. So we're gonna reassemble this part of the mechanism. So I'm pulling this arm. You remember that there is a jewel here, which is to do the quick jump on the calendar mechanism. That's a wheel for the GMT. And here we have the wheel for the calendar. And you remember this screw, like this strange screw there, just reverse threaded, and you need to go perfect. Now we have this wheel, which is for the quick set date. on the calendar. You will see a bit later on when we test the calendar mechanism, how it works. And we have this screw there with a shoulder on it, so we need to grease it, oil it in this case. Perfect. We have this big spring there, and that's the spring just to indicate and keep in position the date disc that we're going to put later on. Here we go. And again, this one has a screw just to keep it in position. And we have this ring all around that will keep in position the date disc. And you see that there is jewels, like 2 jewels. And actually it's to reduce the friction of the date disc rubbing against this ring there, which is, very, very nice. And that's what's nice with Rolex, actually. Their stuff, they put jewels in places other people don't put. And it's really, really robust and very strong. So that's what the Rolex caliber are so robust. They do stuff very properly. Okay, so we're gonna put a date disc there. Just put a couple of wheels there for the hour wheel and the GMT as well. And you see the GMT on this one is very simple. Like you will see, I was a video, like for example with Rolex Explorer 2, the GMT is a bit more complex because you have this function. And just there, you see that there is an issue there. The quick set date is not working. And actually, what I've done is every time I don't know which side you need to put this wheel, and that's why you want to test everything. And you see now I'm just testing if the date will jump. You see the calendar on the left. Tack! You saw the finger just hit the wheel. And we saw the date moving very instantly. And now we just do a quick side date. And you see this time is working with this wheel. Perfect. Everything looks good. And now I can put back the dial on top of the caliber. And we're going to keep the dial in position with the dial fit screw there. And we're gonna set, you remember the issue with this watch was the hand were not aligned at all very well. So we're gonna align the hand. So we saw there the jump of the date. So we're gonna align the hour hand to midnight. Because what I like to have on a watch is to have the date change 5 minutes around midnight, before or after at the maximum. So we see what we get on this one. So we put the hour hand. We're going to align perfectly as well the GMT hand to the hour hand. That's very important to have everything aligned together. So just going to press it in position now. And the last important end to align is a minute end. So again, we're going to align it to midnight. So very gently pushing it just to align it perfectly to midnight. And we just press it in position. Okay, and we're going to check when the date is changing. Perfect, just like 1 minute before midnight, so that's perfect. I think the Rolex is 1 minute before, 3 minutes after. That's tolerance for Rolex. So yeah, I'm perfectly to the Rolex tolerance, so very, very well. Just put the second end there, and you see the hack was on, and now it's moving perfectly. We have a quick side date. Very well. So next we're going to move on automatic winding. Just put the reversing wheel there. I'll explain you the way of these two wheels are working. I mean, the purpose of these two wheels there. Perfect. Put the two wheels here. And we're going to align everything with the plate on top. The screws as well. And again, we're gonna oil all the jewels just to make sure like there is a minimum friction on all the pivot point. And we can put the rotor there. You see, with a massive jewel in the center. And there we have obviously the jewels to oil, and we have a C-clip there to oil to hold the weight in position. And perfect, the sub-assembly is done. Now we're going to focus on the case. Just going to remove all the... and you see the O-rings are quite old actually inside. So we're going to put brand new one just to make sure the watch is fully sealed. I'm going to remove, you see there, the parts kind of bezel around, which is keeping in position the crystal. So I'm using this tool there just to pop it up. There we go. So now I just lift it up. And actually we see there is a nice surprise inside. And I've just finished it, you see, with my knife here, just to remove. And look at what I see inside. Whoa, I never saw that before. Actually, they glued the ring inside the case. You see, glued all around there. So I have to remove everything, clean everything. The crystal as well was glued inside and broken. So I have to put a brand new crystal. And you see, yeah, that's okay. Remove all the parts. And actually, it was a spring as well inside the bezel. And the spring was broken. So I will put a brand new spring for the bezel as well. And here we go. All these parts, we'll clean them inside the machine. And you see there, I just tried the tube. And the tube, look, I managed to screw it in. So it was not fully in the tube. That's why the crown was sticking out of the case. So I will do that nicely. So I will remove the tube, clean everything. And obviously when we put it back together, just put some Loctite there, some special thread compound just to keep it in position. And we're gonna fully screw it this time inside the case. And you see I use a special tool just to wind and unwind this tube. And you see there I'm putting the crown and the winding stem just to align on my new crystal, because you remember the original was broken with the glue, just to align the date window. And now that in position, I will press everything together. I will press the ring around to keep the crystal in position. Okay, and what it is, we can remove the tension. And that's it. We have a watch with a brand new crystal and no more glue or strange stuff inside. So yeah, that's perfect. Okay, that's the spring that I was talking to you that was broken. So I put a brand new one inside. And we're just going to put the bezel, and this you just need to clip it in position. Perfect. Okay, I will put brand new O-rings inside. So you see you have 3. We see where they go. So first we're gonna put some grease on the O-ring. The first one, we put it inside the tube. Just press it inside, you see with my finger, put it in position. Perfect. The second one will go inside the crown. So we need to put it, you see, through the winding stem there and put it at the bottom on the crown. And what we're going to do, we're going to just screw it inside just to check that everything is perfectly aligned and perfectly tight inside. Yeah, it looks good. And the last one is the biggest one. We go on the case back. So again, just put it in position. And the case is done and ready. Just gonna vacuum there inside just to remove any dust or anything which is inside the case before we put it obviously on the dial. Just checking, yeah, it looks good. And we're gonna do the same thing on the dial there, but we're gonna blow some air just to remove any type of small dust that can be on the dial. See that there is a tiny mark there, just remove with some Rodico. Perfect. So now no dust anymore. So what we can do, we can put the case on the caliber and the dial. And look how beautiful it is inside. And I'm just gonna realign. You see the screw there, which are keeping in position this Rolex caliber inside the case. I can put the crown and realign it to the caliber. For this, I need to push a little button there just to insert the winding stem. And it's fully screwed there. I will unscrew, in this case, the screw there just to keep in position and held the caliber inside the case. And before I put the automatic winding system, you see there I'm just putting some oil on the jewel. We come in where we have the rotor there. And I'm just aligning, you see this automatic that we just reassemble together. And when it's in position, obviously we're going to put like the screws. Well, that's the last one. Perfect. Just gonna put back the case back. Now everything is okay inside. And I will just close it, you see, with my custom Orotech press there, just to close this beautiful case back. Perfect. The bracelet are just clean as well in ultrasonic machine. Just gonna put back the bracelet there, you see, with this bar spring here. Beautiful, beautiful bracelet. I love the Jubilee. It's very comfortable as well on this type of watch. And actually the two-tone as well watches, you need to see one in real as well. It's quite nice, especially black and gold there. It's beautiful. And look at this beauty on my hand. Yeah, the date is moving very well. Everything is moving very well. The crown now is closing nicely, and we're just gonna leave the watch for 24 hours on a winder there, 48 hours actually, just to make sure everything is working. The oil is working. just demagnetize the watch. And you see the watch there on the time grapher. Perfect. The rate is at 0. The bit error is at 0. The amplitude will still rise a bit more because after a few days with the oil will set up, but around 280 is perfect on this watch, and look how it runs perfectly. So I'm very happy with the result on this watch. It was few issues, now it's working perfectly, and it's a beautiful Rolex that I can give back to my clients. So I hope you like the video, and I see you next time. Bye bye.